How's that all encoded in the brain? Like, where's the storage of information? Are we talking just maybe to get it a little bit more specific? Is it in the hardware of the actual connections? Is it in chemical communication? Is it electrical communication? Do we know?
So this is a paper that we are bringing out soon.
Which one is this?
This is the cortical microcircuits paper that
Got it.
I sent you a draft of. Of course, this is a lot of it is still hypothesis. One hypothesis is that you can think of a cortical column as encoding a concept. A concept, think of it as an example of a concept is an edge present or not, or is an object present or not. Okay, so you can think of it as a binary variable, a binary random variable, the presence of an edge or not, or the presence of an object or not. So each cortical column can be thought of as representing that one concept, one variable. And then the connections between these cortical columns are basically encoding the relationship between these random variables. Mm-hmm. And then there are connections within the cortical column. Each cortical column is implemented using multiple layers of neurons with very, very, very rich structure there. There are thousands of neurons in a cortical column.
But that structure is similar across the different cortical columns.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And also these cortical columns connect to a substructure called thalamus. So all cortical columns pass through this substructure. So our hypothesis is that the connections between the cortical columns implement this. That's where the knowledge is stored about how these different concepts connect to each other, and then the neurons inside this cortical column and in the thalamus in combination implement these actual computations needed for inference, which includes explaining away and competing between the different hypotheses. And it is all very... So what is amazing is that neuroscientists have actually done experiments to the tune of showing these things. They might not be putting it in the overall inference framework, but they will show things like, if I poke this higher level neuron, it will inhibit, through this complicated loop through the thalamus, it will inhibit this other column. Mm-hmm. So they will do such experiments.
But do they use terminology of concepts, for example? So you're I mean, is it something where it's easy to anthropomorphize and think about concepts like you start moving into logic-based kind of reasoning systems? So are we to think of concepts in that kind of way, or is it a lot messier, a lot more gray area? Even more gray, even more messy than the artificial neural network kinds of abstractions.
It's easiest way to think of it as a variable, right? It's a binary variable, which is showing the presence or absence of something.
But I guess what I'm asking is that something that we're supposed to think of something that's human interpretable of that something?
It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be human interpretable. There is no need for it to be human interpretable. But it's almost like you will be able to find some interpretation of it because it is connected to the other things that you know about.
And the point is it's useful somehow.
Yeah.
It's useful as an entity in the graph that in connecting to the other entities that are, let's call them concepts.
Right.
Okay, so by the way, are these the cortical microcircuits?
Correct. These are the cortical microcircuits. That's what neuroscientists use to talk about the circuits in within a level of the cortex. So you can think of, let's think of in neural network, artificial neural network terms. People talk about the architecture of the, so how many layers they build, what is the fan in, fan out, etc. That is the macro architecture. Mm-hmm. And then within a layer of the neural network, you can, the cortical neural network is much more structured within a level. There's a lot more intricate structure there. But even within an artificial neural network, you can think of in feature detection plus pooling as one level. And so that is kind of a microcircuit. It's much more complex in the real brain, and so within a level, whatever is that circuitry within a column of the cortex and between the layers of the cortex, that's the microcircuitry.
Yeah, I love that terminology. Machine learning people don't use the circuit terminology,
Right.
but they should.